What is up, everyone? I'm Smoothie Man, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to go over the POE 2 Dawn of the Hunt League start, as well as some of the hiccups that I had going on with it. So my league start plans were to be a ritualist, mainly because of these two nodes on the left. The first one giving you an extra ring slot, and the second one basically giving you a mini ingenuity for all three of your rings and your amulet. The second reason I wanted to play this ascendancy was because of the mini headhunter that you're going to get by sacrificing rare monsters as well as your HP. Depending on how strong those are, I was either going to keep those or go into the extra charm slot slash the 5% recovery based off of my missing HP. Both of those just seemed like a really nice, comfy defensive layer, depending on how the rare beast sacrifices were going. So I had a few different ideas for the Huntress build wise, but I figured for League Start just to see how the gameplay was pairing out with all the nerfs that were coming through, as well as the new gameplay style with the spear. I figured I would just go with the spear just to see how it was playing. With it being something that is completely new, I obviously had no idea what skills were going to be good, what skills were going to be bad, so I kind of mixed and matched a few different things. In the early game, either it's going to be good or it's going to be bad, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad all the way through, because obviously there are some combos and whatnot and things that synergize a little bit better with different kinds of builds. So I was just gonna play it out and see how it went. Unfortunately, with all of the nerfs, which were a lot heavier and more widespread than I was initially expecting, as well as the HP increases of most of the mobs in the campaign, I was not having a very fun time, which is to be expected. But the good thing is the game has changed a little bit. GGG has kind of reiterated some of their changes, and things are getting a little bit better. In the meantime, though, at least during the league start, things weren't working very well. I didn't have a whole lot of damage. That's mainly due to my spear just being absolute dog water. But for the most part, things went pretty smoothly, considering all of those things. Things took a turn when I got to Act Two. That's kind of when the game really puts you on a check and says, hey, if you're not progressing normally, you're going to start having a really bad time. And I was having a bad time up until, yeah, especially once I got to the three consecutive bosses before you get the horn, where you have to go and fight in the buried city, the duo boss fight in the bone pit, as well as the titan. So I died again and again and again on all of these bosses, mainly because I just did not have a weapon, and I probably should have went and gambled a lot in Act 2, because that's when you start to have a little bit of a surplus of gold, which I just ignored completely. I just wanted to see how things were playing out. I had to switch my build up a few different times, mainly the skills. Luckily, you have a whole bunch of extra skill gems and supports that you can kind of do these things. You can do a little bit of testing. Unfortunately, it failed miserably. I did not have the gear, so I was constantly dying, which you will get to see here very shortly. As you can see, my damage is pitiful. I was trying to kind of use a little bit of bleed and a little bit of range damage, simply because at this point in the game, I don't really have a whole lot of skill points to be putting into specific damage types. It's kind of just general damage. So I figured at the worst, maybe a little bit of damage from everything is going to be better than just soloing one skill. So, I mean, I'm trying to utilize the parry mechanic to boost some of my damage, but like I said, my weapon was so terrible at this point that it did not matter. So enjoy me dying over and over and over again. So with me having an absolutely terrible weapon, I did eventually kill the fire boss and the duo boss in the bone pit, but that was mainly because I had to switch to auto attacks, which actually managed to help me kill the boss because I was running out of mana. After I died to the Titan a number of times, I decided to bench the character and move on to my second character and pray to God that it went a little bit better. My second character is going to be a Lich Ascendancy, and that's because of the nodes on the right side. This is going to give us a lot of damage reduction in the form of allowing damage to bypass our energy shield, but unable to change our life while we have energy shield. Compare this with the node on the tree as well as the unique helmet. We're going to get about 25% damage reduction simply by allowing damage to bypass our energy shield, which is super strong. I also am going to be taking the nodes on the left that are paired with the curse nodes. I kind of hoping that Impending Doom might be viable, or even if it isn't, all the chaos dot damage plus a curse with Profane Bloom on the curse might be enough to just help us clear the screens really, really well, and it's just going to chain super well. So essentially, I'm just going to be putting all of my damage into Chaos nodes, as well as a ton of ES nodes, just to get a lot of survivability and potentially some life regen in there as well. I also have a lot of nodes and my weapon swap that work with the curse, so that way our curses are a lot stronger for this as well, which will just pair really nice. So with my witch leveling, as you can see here, I decided to go into ED Contagion, which is really nice for clear, and even with all of the HP increases on the white mobs at this point, which still hadn't been reduced, I had just went ahead and got a +1 wand from a quick drop, which was really, really nice, and it just cleared the screens really, really easily. I also got that unique scepter, which gave me a lot of chaos damage based off of my minions. I had 9 minions at one point, which was a 45% increase in my damage just from having minions. So it was really smooth. Some of the bosses went really slowly. Some of the bosses, like Viper, which is kind of a notoriously difficult fight for some people, it went so smoothly. A lot of these boss fights, even though they took really long, they went well. Luckily, all of my minions just kind of cornered the Viper, so that way she couldn't do a whole lot of damage to me. And since I'm a Chaos Dot build, even when she's doing a lot of her mechanics, like the Meteor Shower one here, normally you're not trying to do damage to her. You're just avoiding everything like it's the plague. But since I'm a Chaos Dot build, I could just throw down my ED Contagion, and I'm just DPSing her the entire time. I think I did die once or twice simply from just getting hit by a one shot that I wasn't expecting. I think it was mainly the spear barrages from the sides. I just dodged a little bit too early or late, and I did get one shot, which is just kind of whatever. But it was a really smooth league start, and the only reason I decided to eventually bench this character as well and go back to the Huntress was I eventually made it to maps, and again, I just could not kill anything. For some reason, I was looking at some other creators' builds, and they were the exact same or had even less damage than I did at that point, and they were still cruising through maps, cruising through bosses. Maybe I was just doing something a little different. I am on consoles, so sometimes it is a little bit difficult to get those ED contagion spreads, but for the most part, it was a fantastic league starter, and I know that once things get a little bit better, my Huntress gets a little bit stronger, and I get some currency, I can make this character really, really strong with a Chaos Dot build, as well as the defensive layers that this Ascendancy gives me. That is it for the video today, guys. Thank you to everyone who decided to stick around and watch. And please bear with me as I have a lot to learn in terms of editing and gameplay recording to make my content as enjoyable as possible. In terms of POE 2, if you would like me to make any kind of build guides or specific related content, please let me know below so that way I can make that content for you. Also, if you enjoy Baldur's Gate 3 and predecessor gameplay, look out for those videos in the future as I will be uploading some content. Until then, remember to blend it up and keep it smooth.